Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's me, David. We got some exciting things going on today in the next few days. In 3 days, my first litter of pigs is going to be born from my Berkshire. I've kind of slacked on a couple things. I really wanted to have a farrowing barn set up. Basically a big shed that I could let my pigs go in to deliver babies. But I only have their little shelter at the moment, and it's not big enough for both of them to have litters. So in 3 days, my first pig's having babies. Well, then 4 days later, my second pig's going to have her litter. So what I'm going to do today, and I thought I'd video it, is I'm going to make a DIY shelter that's going to attach to my existing shelter, and it's going to give my pigs extra space to have their babies. And it's actually going to be built in a way that the babies can pass from shelter to shelter, because they're going to be side by side, and there's a gap under one of the boards. And it's going to be kind of neat. It's just going to be a quick project, so I thought I'd make a video and show you what I'm going to do. I have here 2 8-foot cattle panels, and I'm going to kind of make a tent type structure out of it, almost a triangle. I'm going to attach part of that to the existing shelter. And I have a tarp here that's going to cover this. I have large zip ties to attach the tarp to the panel, and to attach the panels together and make it a little bit more secure than zip ties, I have hog rings and hog ring pliers. So if you don't know what hog rings are, they're kind of like a C-shaped piece of metal, and you can kind of crimp them together, and it's going to make it more secure than just zip ties. And then along with that, bag of nails, hammer, and when it's all said and done, I have 3 bales of straw that I'm going to be putting in both of the shelters, and the hogs are going to make nests out of those, and right before they have their babies, they'll make a big ball out of it, and they'll basically go in and deliver their babies. The babies will get in the straw and stay warm. And then once the second litter of babies are born, those babies are going to pass from pig to pig wherever they want to get milk. Sows are really good about sharing the motherly duties, so it's great to have pigs that are going to be delivering just days apart. But let's go get started and get this done. It should be pretty quick.
Alright, we're at the pig pen. First step is always to feed the pigs. That helps keep them out of your way. I could separate them with a gate and shut the gate, but honestly, they're not going to be that big of a deal. They're pretty friendly. This is my Berkshire, and you can see she's producing milk already. And then you had to get in the way, thank you. But she's really big in the midsection, because she'll be giving birth in 3 days, and she's producing milk. So I'm just trying to keep her fat and happy. Another little update. The last video I had of my pigs, this girl here was sick. We had to give her a bunch of shots, but she's good to go. Look at her, she likes her ears scratched. Yes, you like that, don't ya? Alright, let's get started on this build. Alright, first thing I did, I bent some nails on these posts the whole way across here. And that's the first hog panel. It's loose sitting right now. I propped this other one up just to get an idea what I'm going to be working with, how it's going to end up. Let me back up here. Plenty of room for her to get in there. It's bigger than it looks. That's 8 foot long and roughly 4 feet wide, probably at the bottom, maybe 5 feet. Other pigs already in the shelter, just kind of hanging out. And as you can see, I told you there's a place at the very back where they've kind of just naturally rooted that out. Piglets will be able to fit through there easy. It's always important to have an escape route for your piglets. So if they're in that pen with her, or that shelter, I'm sorry, and they need to get away from her and they don't want to get rolled on or whatever, they'll zip under here and come to this one. And they'll still have protection from the elements in here when it's done. So this is the top of the structure, and I'm going to get hog rings now, and the whole way down through here, I'm going to hog ring this together, which is going to be much more secure than using plastic zip ties, which would break pretty easy. I still will use zip ties for something else, but the zip ties are not going to get a whole lot of stress. These are going to get stress, so we're going to go with metal hog rings. I'll show you how I do that. Alright, hog ring pliers with hog ring around both pieces of wire, and I'll just pinch it together. It's really good. That's not coming undone. That's gonna stay there no matter how much they work on it, which they're not going to really. Alright, I'm gonna do that the whole way down here now. Alright, I realize it's hard to see, but I put a cross brace here attached to both panels on the front, and then it's attached at the very bottom there, that fence post. And actually, it's very, very secure. It's not gonna go anywhere. And I put a total of 8 hog rings across the top. Now all that's left is really to put the tarp on and get some straw in there. Alright, the tarp is on, it's zip tied down. There's boards for support, It's actually pretty secure. My Berkshire's already been in it once right when I was starting to put the tarp on, and she fit in there just fine. So one of them will probably have babies in this shelter, and then the other one will have babies in this shelter. Like I showed you before, there's a little gap at the bottom. The babies will be able to go back and forth wherever they want. I'm just going to put some straw in here. It's done. Here's just a quick shot of what the inside ended up looking like. It's pretty well windproof in there and full of straw. But that's it. It works out pretty good. By no means is this a perfect setup. And in the near future, I do hope to have a farrowing barn, but for the time being, they both have a space to have their babies, and this will last long enough to get them weaned up and put over in the grow out pen, and then hopefully by the time I have another litter, we'll have a nice barn set up for them. But in a short amount of time, and this is all I had to work with, I think it's going to work out pretty well. Alright, she's in here, rooting around in her straw. I'm gonna start making a nest soon. You can see, definitely about to give birth. 3 days left. So I'm gonna do my best to try and get them delivering on camera if I can, but at the very least I'll update everybody and show shots of a bunch of baby piglets here in a few days hopefully. Stay tuned.